Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up politics. Scott Galvin, Florida's longest-serving LGBTQ elected official, retires after 25 years. This week marked the end of an era as North Miami City Commissioner Scott Galvin retired. Galvin has served since 1999 and for more than 25 years. He was the longest-serving LGBTQ elected official in Florida's history. His final act was attending his 620th consecutive city council meeting. Yes, you heard that right. Scott Galvin never missed a city commission meeting in more than 25 years. He is well known as the executive director of Safe Schools South Florida. In 2022, he was central to the response of students, parents, and educators against Governor DeSantis' Don't Say Gay legislation. He was directly involved in the protests at Walt Disney World gates over their lack of support for LGBTQ youth. Social justice activists give much credit to the national and international headlines the protests created and helped push Disney to take on the governor. In 2022, the city of North Miami celebrated their longtime commissioner by naming a major building, the Scott Galvin Community Center. That community center has hosted many LGBTQ events, including for the trans community, local activist organizations, including SAVE and the National LGBTQ Task Force. Galvin had a wistful note about his service as the longest LGBTQ elected official in Florida history. He said, quote, "Ironically, even though I was elected in office for so long, most of South Florida's gay community doesn't know my name." End quote. Galvin will continue as a board member of AHF and as executive director of Safe Schools. Well, first and foremost, Scott Galvin, I know your name. So, what I do want to say is it is iconic that we have a community center in South Florida named after an LGBTQ legislator. There are not a lot of places across the country, you could probably count them on a few hands, that have buildings named after LGBTQ individuals, and one of them is Scott Galvin. The events I've done there, they've hosted our LGBTQ Task Force Gala committee meetings. I've been there for Unity Coalition. I've been there for SAVE events. There has been art events. You name it, if you need a place to have something and they're available, they're going to help you do it. And we don't have enough of those in South Florida. So thank you, Scott, for your 25 years of service. Everyone I know congratulates you, and thank you for all you continue to do for the community.
I love him. I love Scott Galvin. And I know your name too, Scott, by the way, and I met Scott Galvin at this table and, have been completely forever changed by him. The reality is that he is a white guy that can go under the radar, right? He passes. He doesn't have to do everything that he does, yet he lives for it and breathes it. I've been to the Scott Galvin building for TransCon. I've been there for a Friendsgiving. I've been there for a photo shoot, right? He wants that community center to continue to serve our community, right? And he's laying down the fabric to make sure that happens after he's gone. 25 years, folks. 25 years being a trusted servant to our community. I live in North Miami, so he's also, a servant to me and my people. And North Miami is predominantly Haitian, Black, and Brown. It's not a community where you think of LGBTQ representation and standing up for our community. It's not first on the roster, but he makes it first on the roster. He is, and now him being the ED of Safe Schools, that's so perfect, because part of me was like, okay, he's stepping down. It's been 25 years. We can't lose him. Especially now in 2025, we can't afford to lose a Scott Galvin. We can't. He's a tremendous ally in so many different ways to so many different people. And now he continues that with our most targeted, which are queer youth. So, it gets no better.
I just want to pick up on a little bit of your phrasing there in thanking him for his service. I think that we need to really start a tradition of doing that for the advocates in our community, to say thank you for your service, just like we do first responders or military. They put their asses on the line. In this case, a lot of times they're not even getting paid for that work, and God only knows where we would be as a community without them. So thank you for your service, Scott.
Amen. So that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.